Hey, and welcome to the Neurodivergent Musician Podcast. I'm your host, John Hart, along with Luna, my guitar, and today I'll be talking about honing your craft as a musician. Each episode is broken up into a traffic light format where I'll share insights in the red section, improvised babble in the amber, and recommendations you might find handy in the green. As a musician, it's crucial to strive towards constant growth and improvement. However, the journey of honing your craft can often seem daunting and overwhelming, especially for neurodivergent individuals. But fear not, in this episode, we will explore unique strategies and tips to help you elevate your musicianship to the next level. So let's head on over to the red section. Okay, so welcome back. So we're now into the insights. So first and foremost, regular practice is key to improving your skills and developing your technique. However, it's important to create a practice routine tailored to your specific needs and goals. This can involve breaking down songs into manageable sections, practicing scales and exercises, or experimenting with new improvisation techniques. In the amber section, I will delve into some of my own strategies and tips that you can use. Seeking feedback from others can also be a valuable tool in honing your craft. Though it may be intimidating, seeking constructive criticism from other musicians, teachers, or mentors can give you a fresh perspective and insight into areas that need improvement. Alternatively, recording and listening back to your own playing can also highlight areas of strengths and areas to focus on. Continued learning and education are also essential to improving your musicianship. Taking lessons or workshops, attending music conferences or festivals, or exploring the history of theory of your instrument can help you grow and evolve as a musician. I always see theory, rather than seeing it as a real sort of horrible thing, it's a way to unlock your playing to the next level. As a neurodivergent musician, experimenting with different learning styles and teaching methods can lead to a more effective and enjoyable learning experience. Collaboration with other musicians is another great way to develop new skills and gain a fresh perspective on your music. Joining a band or ensemble, attending jam sessions, or collaborating with other musicians online can lead to a unique creative experience and invaluable growth. And finally, it's important to set goals and track your progress, whether it's one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, or a year, whatever it is, track as much as you can. This might mean setting a goal to learn a new song, improve your technique on a specific skill, or perform in front of an audience. Keep track of your progress over time and celebrate your successes along the way. So that's it for the insights. We're now going to head on over to the amber section, which is the improvised and convoluted babble. So see you then. Okay, so welcome back. We're now into the amber section where I'm going to go into some improvised stories and thoughts. So in the previous section, we broke it down into lots of different sections. We had a practice regime, we had feedback, collaborating, education, and goals. So the first one I'm going to take on is a practice regime. So I often speak to a lot of students and I try to make this as manageable as possible. I don't really like the word practice because practice can sometimes feel like homework or extra things that you have to do in your life. Now, what I would prefer is to students to weave in their guitar playing into every single thing that they do. Now, there's some sort of novelty videos that you can see online where there's guitarists playing with one hand and then they might be making a cup of tea or brushing their teeth with their other hand. And what I like about that, even though it's comical, it showcases habit tagging. So, for instance, if you're going to go and brush your teeth, you then follow it up by washing your face. That's a habit tag that you can then build over time. So it's the same with your guitar playing. So, for instance, if you were going to go and make a cup of tea, for instance, or, brew a coffee, that could take 4 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how you like your tea and coffee. But in that short space of time, what you could be doing is picking up your guitar if you've got access to it, and then going through your weaknesses and then strengths. So a really, really simple practice regime is a 4-minute block. Now, everybody has 4 minutes. And then what you can do is, with this bite-sized practice regime, is just to multiply it throughout the day. What you don't really want to be doing is these really long sessions. Say, for instance, if you've got 30 minutes, I guarantee you'll probably focus on your weaknesses for 5 to 10 minutes and then play with freedom for the next 20 minutes. The reason why you're going to be playing for 20 minutes straight is because you love what you're doing, and then time just goes out the window. And we obviously, as neurodivergents, suffer with time blindness. So with a 4-minute block, what you can do is, if you break it up into 2 and 2, 2 minutes of your weaknesses and 2 minutes of your strengths, or what I like to call 2 minutes of focused practice and then 2 minutes of free practice. Now, with most educational lessons, instrumental lessons, it's always focused on the head. You're always having to learn. But we never actually get to transfer over to the emotional side of it, where we can bop our head, close our eyes, actually enjoy music for what it is. So with that first 2 minutes, what you want to be doing is breaking down a weakness. So for instance, on guitar or any instrument, if you're trying to play between 2 chords, if you're a beginner, what you want to be doing is working on that transition between those chords for 2 minutes straight. Now, you can set a timer on your phone or whatever it is you use. And then once that 2 minutes is up, then you get to have 2 minutes of freedom. Now, you can then choose after that to put the guitar down, and you can come back to it 10 minutes later or in the evening. But you can slot these little 4-minute blocks into things like when you go and put the kettle on, when the washing machine is just about to finish, when you are just getting out of bed and you're like, right, I'm not ready yet. I'm just going to go through 2 minutes of this, 2 minutes of this, and straight into that. 4 minutes is not long. But what it will do is it will build into your routine, it will build into your muscle memory, and it will start to get you more consistent. And then if you do 2 4-minute blocks in a day, you've done 8 minutes. And then if you spread that out over the week, you can multiply it. That's how you can multiply your practice. That's how you can feel like, actually, I've got control over this and I'm not always running out of time. Because one of the main excuses for a lot of it is lack of time, a lack of belief, and then a lack of money if you can't go and upgrade in some areas. There's also a sense that a lot of musicians go out and buy a lot of gear to improve their playing. All that extra gear does is enhance your playing. You need to be working on your instrument first. So I like to think of it as, you could go on a toy guitar or a really, really rubbish instrument, but you can make it sound great. If you can do that, when you go and upgrade your gear, you'll sound even better. But that gear is not going to improve your playing. You need to be doing the muscle memory. So you need to be finding a practice regime. So I have a family, I have children, I have a very, very busy life with work and trying to build my business and all sorts of things at the same time. So I don't get a lot of time to practice. So I put my guitar on a guitar hanger in my living room. Obviously, you can see a few on the wall here. They're accessible. You can get wall hangers very cheap. You can get a stand very cheap. Take your guitar out of the case if you're a guitarist, or obviously you get access to a piano. It's right there. And every time you walk past it, just play it. Okay, and hopefully that will be the trigger for you to then sit down and just play for 4 minutes. You could be doing this any time of day. Okay, and you will obviously fluctuate depending on your energy levels as well. But with the practice regime, 4-minute blocks, you could do a long practice once a week if you want to, because you get more time on the weekends maybe, but don't rely on that one block a week, because you need the muscle memory. And 4-minute blocks of muscle memory, maybe 2 or 3 a day, will solidify it over time. I have a terrible, terrible working memory. And now all the muscle memory is in my fingertips. So every time I pick up my guitar, So I've got lots of tracks that I've built, and some of them took me 6 months to build and then another 6 months to perfect. So this is a little snippet from Father. I've played that enough times over and over for it to just solidify in my fingertips. Yeah, the muscle memory is important. And if you're only doing it once a week, or you're practicing during your guitar lessons or music lessons, you're never going to improve. So you need to find that 4-minute block to weave it in however you feel. Now, regards to muscle memory, what you can do, if it's something that's just repetitive and you've got to do it over and over and over and over again, and you don't have that dopamine, you don't have that reward to make you feel like you've got to keep going, what you can do is you can, I don't know, for instance, with the guitar or with the piano, put on your headphones, yeah, and listen to a 3-minute to 5-minute track you love. Then what you can do is entertain your ears whilst you're working on your muscle memory at the same time. Now, you can also, for instance, if you've got a guitar, you can go and sit in front of a TV show. You could go and sit in front of a film. You could put the radio on. And then what I tend to do with my pupils, I say, right, just focus on your left hand. Then you're going to put your right hand over your strings, and then you're just going to work on your left hand over and over. It doesn't have to be audible. You're just playing it over and over to get that muscle memory. Then swap hands. But at the same time, my ears are getting entertained with something else, whether it's TV, film, or, you know, a track that you like listening to. Sometimes those tracks are 4 minutes. That is a 4-minute block of focused practice that you can work on. And then you can go through stuff that you absolutely love. Now, a lot of music lessons, they don't really focus on the heart, okay? It's very cheesy, but if you're focused on the head all the time, you're never going to enjoy your instrument. That's why you want to be doing 50% and then 50%. So that's a very, very simple practice regime that you might want to weave in. Now, every musician has a different background, different DNA, whether it is playing, teaching, all sorts. Take whatever you need. So if you're listening to me now, you're like, I don't agree with that. That's absolutely fine. If you do agree with it, just take a pinch of salt. It's all throughout this podcast. I kind of give you little snippets and things. Just take whatever you need, slot it into your life. Maybe you're listening to it again and you'll take something else. That's what I love about videos and things. What I'm saying is not set in stone. So the next thing is feedback. Now, you can do this in multiple ways, but what I do like to do during my practicing sessions is to film myself. And then what I do is I come back to that video later when I'm not in, practicing mode, or I'm not got a guitar with me. I can analyze that from a different point of view because I'm not a guitarist at that point. Okay, so you can actually become your own internal tutor with what you're playing. Because most of the time we are more critical about ourselves than to everyone else. But if you're not comfortable with that, what you can do is film yourself, and then you can then send it in a WhatsApp group or whatever it is to someone else and get their feedback. Obviously, if you have music lessons, you can go and get feedback to your tutor. What I have asked my students to do during the week is to film their best take when they're feeling comfortable, because they don't really feel that comfortable during lessons because they're learning. So when they're at home, they're in their comfortable space, they've done multiple takes and they've got their best take, I then ask them to send me that video. And then when we come back into the lesson, we can then look at it. We can then break it down. That's how you get the best out of everybody. So you can get feedback on that. Obviously, you can go and perform online via live stream. You can go and do a gig. You can do open mics. There are multiple ways that you can find feedback, and feedback is key, okay? Whether it is internal or from someone else. Collaborating is another one, and I would say I've done a lot of collaborating in the past. I've joined bands, I've joined duos, I've joined trios, and I've collaborated with like-minded musicians as well. If you're just starting out, say for instance, if you're at school, if you're young, or college or whatever it is, you can go and team up with other musicians very easily in the music department. If you're an adult and you're looking out for other musicians, there are websites that you can go and access. There's Facebook groups. You can start to just join in communities and then just see if you can go and spark up a Zoom or something like that and just have a jam with each other. If you live locally, that's even better. And all you have to do is just decide on a song. and then you can just play it. Now, if you feel that your skills is not as good as someone else, then you can just do rhythm guitar or something rhythm based, and then that other person could do lead. So you're not doing the same things and you're matching each other's ability. Now, it could be a drummer, it could be a bass player, it could be a violin, it could be whatever it is. The more musicians you can team up with, the better. And also, you'll be building up your own community at the same time. And you'll start to feel like, actually, I'm moving out of the bedroom, I'm moving out of the living room, and I'm starting to become a more active musician. It really, really is a valuable experience because you'll also get, free tips and free tricks from that other musician that you work with. If it's working with a drummer, you're going to be able to develop your timing. If you're working with a bassist, you're connecting with different sounds, different textures, and so many other instruments at the same time. Now, education is another route, and you might not be thinking about honing your craft with education yet. You might be starting out on your mission. You may have only been playing a little while, but look, seek out online resources, seek out online courses, seek out tutors. It's not a one size fits all, and you don't have to just stick with the same tutor. I went through 3. I've done multiple courses. I've done degrees. I've done all sorts of things, workshops, masterclasses. There was something that was set up by a good friend of mine called Chris Woods, called the London Guitar Night. And when I was starting out my fingerstyle journey, I went up to his guitar night and used to invite 3 acoustic guitarists once a month. And it was amazing. Basically, the crowd were built up with acoustic guitarists. And we all became this community that when we come together, there was no rivalry or anything like that. We were all championing each other, and we were, it was just a group of love, really, of fingerstyle guitar. And the educational purposes of that is you get to go and be inspired by someone else. You might look at their playing and they might play a technique or a certain little riff or a run, and you might go, actually, I'm going to borrow that little pinch of salt there and I'm going to weave it into my playing. You're not going to copy it completely, but if they do something like harp harmonics or they do something on the piano or the drums, you're just like, I love that. And what you could do is just go up to that player and then compliment them on that and ask them, can you show me how to do that? That's a really, really great way of developing your techniques and theory. What I would say with education as well, I have a different approach. I like to use analogies for my guitar lessons, but I also like to use pieces. Try and find a way to connect the dots all together. And the best way is not to learn a song, because most of the time with learning songs, it's like learning chords. And that's only one layer of a whole song. So for instance, if you're learning a rock song, they might have a bass, the guitar, the vocal, the drums. Now, if I'm playing guitar, I can do a drum beat on here. I can play the bass line. I can play the rhythm guitar. I can play the lead guitar, and I can play the vocal all at once. If you can learn all those layers and start to do solo arrangements, then you are stepping your playing up to the next level. You're not one-dimensional, you're multi-dimensional. And that is a beautiful direction to go down because it's fulfilling and you can build timeless arrangements and timeless compositions. Now, I'm going to go into more depth with my layering system down the line. This Neurodivergent Musician podcast is not just about neurodivergent musicians. I wanted to call it that because I wanted to go into neurodiversity and musicianship. So it's just weaving lots of different worlds together. So that's how I've connected the dots. Instead of me doing a podcast on neurodiversity and a podcast on musicianship, I've just connected it all together. So I can then bring on guests from all walks of life, which you'll be hearing in the future. And then the final thing is to do with goals. So what is your goal? And this is why in the previous lesson, when I was talking about learning an instrument, why are you learning to play that instrument? So before you even go and step there, it's just like, right, actually, this is going to be, it could be potentially hard work. I've got a lot of pupils when they've gone to learn a musical instrument, the first question I ask if they're having a taster lesson is, what music are you listening to? And they go, oh, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm like, right, if you're not listening to music and we take music out of the equation, you are learning an instrument. And you're probably going to get more joy out of ironing clothes than you are learning this instrument, because it's going to require a lot of your time and energy to be able to get good. Okay. Now, good can take you 3 to 5 years, which sounds like a hell of a long time, but it's not. Once you've got the passion and love there, 3 to 5 years will just go. Then you get up to the next level. You'll be playing for 10 years. Yeah. And you then step things up and you can get to professional level and so on and so on and so on. But you don't have to worry about those levels. All you need to do is have the love and passion for what you're doing. And most of the time that comes down to the music you love. Like I said, with learning an instrument, honing your craft should all be about love and passion. If it doesn't fit into your world, your music world, then just get rid of it for now. You know, you can obviously educate yourself in any shape or form. If you're curious, you might go, right, actually, I want to learn about, harp harmonics. I might want to learn about the diminished scale. But is that actually going to weave into the world that you've developed? Now, it can take a lot of musicians to develop their sound and to find their identity. Now, I found mine in my mid-20s, but I've known some musicians not to find it until their 50s and 60s. The reason is because they're testing and trying everything. Blues, rock, fingerstyle, acoustic, electric, mandolin, ukulele, bass, drums. It's like, do you want to be an all-rounder? What I suggest is go and put your feet into one camp and really master that one instrument. Now, I've got vocals on top of that, and I was at a period going, doing singing as a front man, and then I'm doing, guitar along the side, and I'm matching them together. But the guitar and vocal go really, really well together. So it's like languages as well. You can go and play one instrument, and then you can, move over to another instrument a bit more easily, depending on the technique. But I would definitely suggest just to try and master one before you move on to the other. Now, with neurodivergent brains, this can be tricky if you're trying to get that dopamine, and there will be times where you feel like you're walking through concrete. So if it feels like you're getting bogged down, it feels like you're heading into a rut, what you need to do is to try and find something else. Okay, start something else that is going to give you that dopamine effect so you can just get yourself through that concrete. The one thing you don't want to be doing is taking a long break. Now, if you need to take 3 days or something like that, do that. If it ends up being 2 to 3 weeks, you're in trouble. So I had a few times over my career where I almost gave up, but I stuck at it as much as I could. I sort of spiced it up a little bit. I moved into different directions. And when I got into fingerstyle, now I was doing electric, I was doing acoustic. As soon as I streamlined my process, I made it simple, and I went, right, I want to do fingerstyle and I want to do singing. And I was like, fingerstyle singer-songwriter. I haven't done anything ever since. I've sold all my electrics and I've got acoustics now. And I don't really play the other acoustics. I play this one mainly all the time. And I now know who I am. And a really great way of getting your identity, by the way, is to put your name and then try and summarize what you do in 2 words, or 1 word if you can do that. It's a bit tricky. But that's why I went fingerstyle, singer-songwriter. And that's what allowed me to hone my craft even more. Once I had that identity, I like color psychology. So, my favorite color is blue, and it's got lots of different attributes like loyal, and I've mentioned this in previous episode, but it's all those things. Then you develop your font, if you're going into the music career business side of it. And this is how you can start to hone your craft in all areas. If you've got that color, then it can match into your playing, and those techniques that you're using can weave into there as well. And they're like, right, I like harmonics. Harmonics are a really important part of my sound. They come into here. I like playing this open tuning. This tuning feels like it represents me. Now, this is not an overnight thing. This would be something that once you've gone on your learning journey, you will develop more and more and more. But if you to start developing experience in performing, recording, any other kind of sort of collaboration and education, whatever it is, try and get as much experience as you can. once you've decided this is my mission, I am going to go into guitar and I'm going to be the best I can be. Not someone else. I'm not going to be like that other person. I want to develop my identity with this. Now, the beauty about something like a guitar, I have tried lots of other instruments, it's portable. So I am able to carry this around the world with me when I go touring. And for a neurodivergent brain, it's really hard to change environment. So when I take this around the world with me, this is what makes me feel like I'm at home. This is not something that I'm just developing technique or theory. This is my therapist. So I go there and it tells me how I feel. If you can get your playing to that point, this will be an amazing companion for you on a daily basis. If you're having a hard day at work, you can come back and you can just play your instrument. Hey, welcome back to the Neurodivergent Musician Podcast. Today we are talking about honing your craft. And in this green section, we're going to go through a recommendation. And my recommendation today is to do with plotting in some performances throughout the year. If you plot things into your diary, it will just give you that little bit of attention so you can then start to practice and play every single day. Doesn't have to be big. What you could do is schedule in like one large concert for the end of the year. So it could be there's a charity event going on locally. There could be a fete. There could be someone's big day, like a wedding or a birthday, whatever it is. And then you could then go and offer your service to go and play a song for them. It just has to be one song. It could be 2 songs. It could be 3 songs. Put it in a year in advance or however you feel comfortable. Then what you want to do is book in 4 medium performances. So you've got 1 large performance a year in advance. Then you've got 4 medium performances that are going to be every season. Okay, this can be simple things that if you've got a family barbecue going on, if you've got, a family event, you've got a friends event, you've got, you could go online, you could do a live stream on your personal profile, or if you've got professional music profile, go and do that. And then you can just work on whatever songs you're working on, whether it is covers, arrangements, or originals, and just play. The next thing is small performances that you could do once a month, fortnight, or you could do it every week. And this can be as simple as setting up a WhatsApp group with family, friends, or other random people if you want to. And then every week, and I recommend this to my pupils, record yourself, film yourself with your best take, then upload it to the group and ask everyone what they think. You can also set up a video call if you want to, and that is a great way to start to build up your performing experience. Also, getting your best take, whether it's video or audio, will require you to repeat, and repetition is really, really key for muscle memory. So I hope you got something out of that with honing your skills. I could go even further, up a level, which I might do in future episodes. But that is it for today's episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much for listening. Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.